Hey guys, what's poppin'? My name's Blue Ink, and welcome back to the BluGreen Incorporated Zoo. So before we really get into this episode, I just want to give a huge thanks to all of you guys for being so supportive of me and my endeavor to make this YouTube channel and make these videos. So without further ado, we'll get into the video. So here you can see I'm making a lemur island because the primates in this game cannot swim, and so everyone has decided to make islands for their primates. I'm just gonna do it for the lemurs. But this is the most difficulty I have had with the pathing system in this game since it came out. Like, I wanted to make bridges going over the water so that the guests could walk around with the lemurs and, you know, kind of get to experience them. But the issue was that paths and water do not mix. The pathing system in this game is stupid, the water system in this game is stupid, and when you put them together, they're immensely stupider. So, I spent at least 2 hours trying to figure out how to make the paths work. Eventually I did get it to work, thank the Lord, but, you know, it took an unholy amount of time to do. So, anyway, let's talk a little bit about the animals. So, this lemur, there are 2 lemurs in the game, the ring-tailed lemur and the red ruffed lemur, and they can go together in habitats, so this habitat features both of them. So the red ruffed lemur is a mammal, a large quadrupedal lemur, and it's only a herbivore. Meanwhile, the ring-tailed lemur, Lemur cata, the scientific name of the red ruffed lemur is Varicea rubra, by the way. Anyway, the ring-tailed lemur is also a mammal, but it's an omnivore because it will sometimes eat invertebrates, but mainly eats fruit. So the red ruffed lemur is critically endangered due to hunting and habitat loss. Its population is unknown, but it has a decreasing trend, and it's severely fragmented. The ring-tailed lemur is endangered. Its population is also unknown, but decreasing. And I couldn't find much about it on the website I was looking at, but I think it's also endangered due to, like, loss of habitat. And, kind of a fun fact, a group of lemurs is called a conspiracy because they gather together to conspire with each other. So, the red ruffed lemur is considerably larger than the ring-tailed lemur. It's 21 inches long and weighs about 8.5 pounds. And the ring-tailed lemur is 15 to 18 inches long and weighs about 4.9, so, you know, 5 pounds. And the ring-tailed lemur can be found in south and southwestern Madagascar, while the red ruffed lemur is found in northeastern Madagascar. So the red ruffed lemur has a variable social system that changes depending on season and habitat quality. And sometimes they can be in groups of 2 to 5 individuals, other times they can be groups of 18 to 32 individuals. They'll form larger groups during the wet season when fruit is plentiful and break up into smaller groups, or just go off as individuals during the dry season. So, all group members in a red ruffed lemur group share a common home range, and groups will occasionally fight at the borders of these territories, I guess, over who gets what little bit of land is left. So, a home range has to do mainly with the biggest fruiting tree in the area, so I'm guessing that's at the center of the home range. Now, for the ring-tailed lemur, they're the most terrestrial lemur species, and they spend up to 50% of their day on the ground, as opposed to the red ruffed lemur, which really only likes to be in the trees, and they're not big fans of walking around on the ground. Ring-tailed lemur groups are larger than any other lemur group, and they can have up to 30 individuals in them. And in both red ruffed lemur groups and ring-tailed lemur groups, this might be true of all lemurs, I'm not sure, but females are dominant over males, and they're led by a alpha female. So as far as communication goes, the red ruffed lemur has 12 different calls that have been recorded, and each one means something different to the lemurs. And for the ring-tailed lemurs, they have 28 different calls. And these calls allow them to communicate with other members of the group, or alert each other to predators such as boa constrictors, eagles, hawks, and
the dreaded Fusa. The Fusa!
But no, seriously, Fusa are real animals, and they do live in Madagascar, and they do eat lemurs, and they look like this. So, some fun facts about the lemurs is, both these species of lemur have something called a tooth comb, which they use to groom themselves and each other, and the ring-tailed lemur does something called sun worshipping. It's actually really cute. It looks like this. And, the web page I was looking at said that they absorb the warmth of the sun through the thinner fur on their underbellies. So they just sun themselves, but they do it in the most adorable way possible. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about this build. So when I was making this, I knew I wanted to do an island, and I wanted the guests to be able to go into the island and interact with the lemurs. Or not interact with, because they don't do that because it's a game, but you know, at least get to see the lemurs up close. And so I built this bridge entirely out of climbing pieces without realizing it. So despite the lemur's inability to swim, I did not think about the lemur's ability to walk across a bridge. I did not realize that they'd just be able to walk across the bridge and escape. So I did end up having to put a barrier around anyway, even though the entire point of having the water is to keep them from escaping and not need a barrier. You know what? It's fine. Leave me alone. It still looks good, and that's all that matters. So I put up this little ramp because after making the climbing structure, I learned that the lemurs were not able to get up this 1 meter high wall, despite their ability to throw themselves from tree to tree. But it's a game, so you know, extension of disbelief or whatever. In the game, they can't actually get up the 1 meter high wall, so I had to make a ramp instead. It still looks good, and I kind of like it better with the ramp. It makes a little bit more sense, but you know, whatever. I added mulch to kind of look like that spongy sort of flooring stuff that they have on like playgrounds. Or have it look like mulch. It can be either, really. But I had a lot of fun making this climbing structure. The climbing structures are really fun to build. Like, even though the pieces you have are really limited, they're fun to build, and they're even more fun to see the animals actually, like, climbing around and jumping on them and stuff. But anyway, yeah, they use all of this climbing platform. They use the arboreal feeder. It seems like they fixed the issue that was with the arboreal feeder, where the keeper wouldn't be able to reach them, so they just wouldn't feed the animals. Now the keepers just kind of walk into the pen, magically dump food onto the arboreal feeder from across the habitat and leave, which isn't as realistic, but I'm okay with it. So I ended up putting some bedding on this part of the climbing structure right here, so they do sleep there, which is adorable. They curl up into little tiny lemur balls, and it's very cute. I like it very much. And I put little bridges, pathways going across the two, and then also some that go out of the, I guess it's kind of like a greenhouse. They go out of the building through little windows that I make in the wall, and so the lemurs are able to get into the building not only through the doors but also through the little windows. And they do use both, which is really fun to see. I am really I'm not sure what the right word is. I'm really impressed. That's the word. I'm impressed by how much the lemurs will use the climbing structure to get around, not just to climb on for the sake of climbing on them. Their pathfinding algorithm is amazing, despite the few little flaws that don't really make any sense. But other than that, I mean, like, it's really good. Most of the animals pathfinding is really good. It just is a little bit disappointing that some of the mountain climbing animals can't climb mountains. But other than that, other than the mountain climbing and the swimming, the animal pathfinding is really good. So for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about in regards to the swimming, the game does not have what you would call volumetric swimming yet. All of the swimming is either animals floating along the surface of the water or sinking to the bottom and walking across the bottom. So it's not volumetric in the terms that the animals can't actually swim in the middle of the water. They can only float on top or walk on the bottom. Now, it's actually kind of funny because the lemurs really like to get around to the edge of the outer edge by the barrier and run around the island. The ring-tailed lemurs in particular. The red-ruffed lemurs seem to stay on the island, but the ring-tailed lemurs like to run around. They look like cockroaches. They're so small. But you know, I think in the game the red-ruffed lemurs should be a little bit bigger because they are large lemurs. They're like, I don't know, they're larger than little lemurs. That's the stupidest thing I've ever said. Anyway, I'm putting in some vegetation here to kind of make it. I wanted the island to look really lush and really forested, like heavily forested, and have a whole bunch of plants in there. Like, I want it to feel like you're in the jungle or the tropical-ish jungle-y kind of thing. Now, tropical plants I can do. Tropical plants, I know what tropical plants look like and where they go. So, I did not have as much trouble with this as I have had with the more temperate ones, specifically the pronghorn and bison. That was a real struggle to do, but what you gonna do? So, that was an interesting voice crack. I'm gonna drink some water. Yeah, okay. So the lemurs I got are all either gold and silver, because I don't, like, I kind of have it, it's like a little pet peeve of mine to have a sandbox zoo but not have, like top tier animals. I don't know. I just like having really good animals. So, I'm gonna try and either, like, micromanage the breeding for animals that aren't already gold and try to get them up to, like, 5-star gold medal status. If I can, oh well. They're still animals and they're still in the zoo. Oh, here I actually, tried to cover up the borders of the foraging box with rocks instead of just leaving them wide open like I did with the pronghorn bison habitat. I wasn't quite sure what to do about the pronghorn bison habitat, so I just left it as it was. But yeah, as I was recording, they all started coming over and eating the gross food, so I had to call a keeper to get rid of it. But yeah, I added in some plants to the rocks to make it look like there was just kind of like little vegetation growing out from the cracks of the rocks, and I think it turned out really well. I really like the way it looks. But while I was doing this, I actually completely forgot about the existence of the bird's nest ferns, so I think I went in off camera and added them. I can't really remember if it was on camera or off camera. But I did add bird's nest ferns, for those of you who are looking at your screen wondering why I'm not putting in bird's nest ferns. In any case, this habitat was loads of fun to build. What am I doing? Okay, this habitat was really fun to build and I really enjoyed it. It was putting in all the plants and stuff and making it look really forested was probably my favorite part, but I mean, building the bridge was also relatively fun. What was not fun was making the pathing system. Okay, I'm done complaining about the pathing system. Anyways, yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. This is the last pre-recorded episode that I have. I am still in the process of recording the next episode, which is going to be the Komodo dragon. Now, you guys voted and wanted to see the Komodo dragon instead of the peacock, so I'll have another poll probably after this one deciding what animal to do next. Peacock's going to be one of the options for sure. But if you're not a member of my Discord server, you should definitely join the Discord server, linked in the description. There you will get to see sneak peeks of what I'm doing next. You'll get to vote on what animal I should build a habitat for next, and you'll also get to see, you'll get access to my Zookeeper's Notebook, which is just the name that I've come up with for all of the notes that I take for the animals, and I post the notes I have on the animals after that animals episode comes out, so you'll get to see those. I think that's everything. I think I covered everything. Oh, if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Anyway, that's it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Bye.
This one is